Marina Mabrey admits she overreacted shoving Caitlin Clark.
And shoving Caitlin Clark is what the headlines say. All I think of is we forgive, but we don't forget. Marina Mabrey was heard saying, damn if I do, damned if I don't. How could you say damn if you do, damn if you don't?
Marina Mabrey just admitted something no one saw coming. She shoved Caitlin Clark out of pure anger and day embarrassing. This wasn't some accidental bump in the heat of the game. It was a full-body launch that turned into one of the most controversial moments in WNBA history.
Oh, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
You pushed the GOAT, Caitlin Clark, to the ground. Why would you do that? There's no damn if you do.
And yet, despite all the drama that unfolded, Mabrey's flip-flop excuses, from blaming fans to hiding behind teammate protection, don't stand up against the evidence. The footage speaks for itself: the dirty plays, the unprovoked shove, and now the legal consequences that follow. Let's take a deep dive into how this one incident went from a shocking game moment to a full-blown scandal that could change the WNBA forever. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.
That Mabrey now, that is Marina, is in a bit of a panic.
June 7/25, the Fever vs. Sun game. It's the third quarter and there's no active play happening. No ball in sight, the clock's ticking down, and what happens next is nothing short of jaw-dropping. In an almost WWE-style move, Marina Mabrey decides to take matters into her own hands. And I mean, really take them into her own hands.
This moment came on June 17th, yeah. The moment came in the third quarter. Actually, you know what? In my opinion, the Sophie Cunningham thing is as infamous. This led to a brief scuffle between Clark and Shell, which prompted Connecticut veteran Marina Mabrey to come up and shove Caitlin to the ground.
She launches her body at Caitlin Clark with all the force of a linebacker. This wasn't just a little bump. This was a full-body shove that made you think, did she forget she was on a basketball court? The crowd was stunned. The players were stunned, and immediately we saw multiple technical fouls flying in the air.
Situation with Caitlin Clark in which she shoved her to the ground and it made national news. Hence, part of the reason why I believe Caitlin Clark got hurt early on.
But it wasn't just the shove itself. The aftermath of this hit would spiral out of control, affecting not just the game, but the entire league's image. And that wasn't even the worst part. Just wait for what comes next.
That weren't during actual basketball plays. The Kennedy Carter bitch slam that started this all.
Just when you thought things couldn't get worse, Sophie Cunningham decides to escalate the situation even further. 1 quarter later, she body slams JC Sheldon like she's auditioning for a wrestling match at the pay-per-view. This wasn't some innocent display of aggression. Oh no, it was calculated. It was personal. And it was a direct escalation of the chaos that Marina had started with her reckless move.
Did anything because of the way the fans reacted. Maybe said and shove Clark, they gave me tech for initially, I don't care. Honestly, I really don't. Obviously, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but I'm not trying to go after a certain player. I'm not trying to go after certain players, certain shit.
Now, this moment didn't just make it into the game's highlight reel, it immediately became a symbol of everything wrong with the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark running down the court, Diamond DeShields slamming into her like she's a safety in the National Football League. You're trying to tell me that was a basketball play?
The Wall Street Journal, Fox News, and countless other outlets picked up the story, and suddenly, the WNBA was facing questions about its internal culture. Was this behavior indicative of a larger problem? Was this just one isolated incident, or was this the face of a bigger issue within the league?
If you guys don't remember, Caitlin's about to take a layup, and Mabrey just body checks her in the air. She just body checked her in the air, and the referees just ignored it.
As the drama unfolded, it quickly became clear that this wasn't just a sports story, it was becoming a full-blown legal matter. The Wall Street Journal published an article suggesting that the league might be fostering a hostile work environment with players feeling free to resort to violence instead of playing the game. And if that wasn't enough, rumors started circulating about Caitlin Clark possibly filing a civil rights lawsuit against the WNBA, a move that would put the league under federal scrutiny.
To show up the third world, Mabrey was heard saying, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't," when addressing a commenter on an Instagram livestream who called her for shoving Clark. Mabrey since opened up about this shove.
From Fox News to social media, everyone was talking about it. This wasn't just a sports controversy, it was quickly becoming a media circus. The legal implications were enormous. If Marina's shove had happened in a different state, some experts suggested that it might have been considered assault, and instead of sitting on the bench, she might have been heading to county lockup.
Marina Mabrey get honest about Caitlin Clark's shove. 2 days after that shove heard about the women's basketball world, Marina Mabrey was heard saying, "Damn if I do, damned if I don't." How could you say damn if you do, damn if you don't?
Fast forward to August 10th, 2025, when Marina sits down with Sportskeeda's Mark Medina to give her side of the story. Her explanation? It's all the fans' fault. Yes, you heard that right. According to Marina, the only reason her foul got upgraded from a technical to a flagrant 2 was because the fans overreacted. Not because she threw herself at Clark like a heat-seeking missile. No, according to her, it was the fans who was the problem.
Trying to moonwalk back said incident. Now that somebody's actually talking about actual government involvement, of which...
But that's not all. On Instagram Live, when a fan calls her out on her actions, her response is classic, "Damned if I do, damned if I don't." Really? Is that supposed to be a deep philosophical take on the situation? Because it sounds more like the kind of excuse someone makes when they don't want to take responsibility for their actions. She tries to play the victim card, saying, "I've never done anything like that before, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody." Except there's video evidence that shows otherwise.
She had me and Caitlin have competed against each other in the playoffs. She threw me into the benches in the quarterfinals. We didn't go after her for it. She's competitive. When did she throw Kate Mabrey into the benches? And if she did, in fairness, Mabrey got her back with...
In a previous game, she body-checked Clark in midair with no whistle and no foul called. And let's not forget the spinning back fist she aimed at Aaliyah Boston earlier in the same game. This wasn't a one-time slip-up. This was a pattern of aggression. In an attempt to shift the narrative, Marina brings up the 2024 playoffs. She claims that Clark threw her into the benches during the quarterfinals. First off, that happened over a year ago. Secondly, it was a live play, something that actually happens during the game.
She's competitive, and I was about to get the ball. I get it. Throw me out of bounds. We got back up and kept competing. Maybe included with, so at the end of the day, it was a play on the ball when she did it, and I probably overreacted a little bit. My teammates is getting hit, and I'm not okay with that, and I was like...
The shove on June 17th wasn't part of the play. It was off the ball, and it had no business happening. But here's the thing. Marina's defense about protecting my teammate falls apart once you watch the footage. She had her back turned to the Clark Shellen scuffle, so she didn't even see it happen. She wasn't stepping in to protect anyone. She just saw an opportunity to take out her frustration on Clark, and she took it. It's like someone who throws a punch in a bar fight without knowing who started it, and then claims they were just protecting their friend.
At first, you was kind of cool. You was doing it on rival thing. You know, they had you in a bad spot in Connecticut. Your boy John the Liquidator was rocking with you, Marina. Then you come into the league and push.
What Marina did wasn't just a basketball play. It was a reckless, off-the-ball, cheap shot. And now, the consequences are beginning to pile up. Legal experts suggest that Caitlin Clark might have a case. A hostile work environment? Check. Repeated acts of aggression from players like Kennedy Carter, Diamond Shields, and now Marina? Check. The WNBA is being forced to reckon with whether it's allowing toxic behavior to fester. The question is, will the league step up and take responsibility for its players' actions, or will it let this behavior go unchecked?
No, that's when none other than my favorite right now on the team, Sophie Cunningham, put the beats and feet and elbows all over who? Lacey Sheldon. Now, that whole situation was diabolical, and it had a trajectory into the direction the season was going to go.
Because right now, it feels like the league is just crossing its fingers, hoping this all blows over. But with the media circus surrounding it, that's not looking likely. There's also, you can't these kind of pucks that rake in commentations and stylists coming up, and this repeaters like I've far like Facebook and Spoker, my Leverk area, but it's just the same thing that takes is so infurasive at the great cries entirely world.
Incited several technical fouls and weeks of heated discussion about how Clark is treated by peers afterwards, but it prompted Fever enforcer Sophie Cunningham to essentially start a brawl by grabbing and throwing Sheldon to the ground.
Commissioner Kathy Engelbert is under fire for refusing to address the issue head-on. Why? Because she's terrified of the player backlash. She's worried about alienating players and drawing the wrong kind of headlines. It's easier to ignore the problem than to face the consequences. But by doing so, the WNBA is allowing this toxic culture to grow unchecked. One of those, the WNBA, that tried to respond in commentation reward, is $654 million. What's even worse is that the league is afraid of being labeled with all sorts of political accusations, anything from being racist to anti-LGBTQ. The result is a culture where players can get away with almost anything because the league is too scared to do anything about it.
The opinion piece that came out of the Wall Street Journal about Caitlin Clark and a hostile work environment in the WNBA.
Marina's actions, combined with the ongoing issues surrounding the WNBA, have left a permanent stain on the league. If Clark's legal team is truly building a case, the events of June 17th could be a goldmine of evidence. It's not just about one incident. It's about a pattern of reckless behavior, a hostile environment, and a league that hasn't done enough to protect its players. And then there's the injury record. Caitlin Clark has dealt with multiple injuries, and after the shove, it's clear that these issues are only going to escalate. Lawyers, analysts, and fans alike are starting to question whether there's a systemic issue here. Could it be that Clark, along with other players, is being targeted by other aggressive players? The WNBA can't ignore these questions forever. What's next for the WNBA? Will the league finally take action and address the toxic culture that's been allowed to fester? Or will it continue to turn a blind eye? And how will Marina Mabrey's legacy be remembered after all of this? As a respected veteran, or as the face of a scandal that could change the game forever? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more of the truth they don't want you to hear. This isn't just a sports story. It's a wake-up call for the entire league.